Wait, it's
Sounds
not.
good.
Claudia.
It
It
says
doesn't?
recording. Okay, I guess it's recording.
Thank you, Claudia.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Good, Anna?
Thank you, Claudia. Appreciate that.
Anna, talk for a minute about the experience. How was it?
The experience was great. The enthusiasm was wonderful. I'm a talker. I like to meet people from all over. I like to find out why are they there. I like to see like where the connection is. And so I did a lot of talking and speaking with people, and they were just from all parts of the country. It was wonderful to meet so many people there for a common reason, a common cause, and with unity and love. Like I felt like I had an extended family there, and it was huge. I know you saw from the pictures. I mean, I'm not good with to figure out like per square foot or per yard how many people. I'm gonna leave that up to the people in the helicopters. But it was tremendous. It was absolutely tremendous, very positive, and it was very, very peaceful.
And why did you go?
I went because the president made the call, and he said that he would be speaking. There were flyers that went out, there were emails, there was an agenda that he would speak at 11 o'clock, and then we would all go to Congress. After that, I believe it was at 1 o'clock. And so I wanted to hear our president, and I want to hear what he had to say. I also felt very strongly that there were a lot of inconsistencies with the election in terms of legalities and following state law with regard to the process of counting ballots. And I really wanted to see if I could get some kind of information there that shed some light as to what was that result? What happened with Giuliani? What happened with the court cases? I know I spoke with some people that were witnesses to things that were irregularities. And I wanted to, part of this was also to stop the steal. If there was a steal, we want to know about it, and we wanted to make sure that there was a free and fair election.
And ma'am, did you think that you going there would change anything in any way? Was that an expectation at all?
I'm not so important that I think they cared whether I was there or not, but in masses, I think it's really important. I think that we should all exercise our First Amendment rights to free speech and also to congregate. And I think for a long time in our country, we've really allowed the politicians to go ahead and do your job. We hired you. You work for us, but we hired you for these positions, and we expect them to follow through with honesty and integrity. Well, I think now that people have woken up because they want the questions answered, and to see that there what looked to me like 1 million people that were there in red, white, and blue, and with flags, and that we love our country, we love our freedoms, and to be able to congregate and to be a voice, a united voice. It did us all good. So I was hoping other people felt the way I did, because if others do, which they did, then we all get together and then we have a united voice. We have a large voice, because if we don't say anything and if we don't question, then politicians are going to do whatever it is that they want to do, but they are supposed to represent us. So how are they going to represent us if we don't let our opinions be known? So I think they heard us loud and clear.
Sure. And maybe you didn't see all of the violence that was happening while you were there, but you've probably seen the news since. And what are your thoughts on, I know you sent me a text message thinking that was Antifa, and I don't know how, what your thoughts are with respect to that. But now that you see the news tonight, what are your thoughts with respect to what happened?
Yeah, so I learned more afterwards than when I was there, because it was very peaceful when I was there. It was people standing around chanting USA, we the people, singing, God bless America. And then, so I was not aware of any violence that occurred. However, as I was standing outside Congress, which was away from the building, I didn't see anybody defacing the property or harming anything, or, they're basically standing there.
So you didn't see any of that violence that happened? You were back?
Did not see any violence. So
Sure.
There was someone who started walking towards me, and he had a gas mask on. So I looked at him, and he was right next to me. So I said, gosh, you look like you're prepared for something that none of us was aware of. And he didn't respond, and he kept moving. And I found that curious. I don't know who he was. I don't know.
And so with respect to the violence, is that because you were not near the front of the Capitol?
Or front of the Capitol.
And so did you see what was happening, or you?
I didn't see anything with regard to violence. I didn't see anybody defacing property. People were standing outside Congress. You know, I grieve for all those lives that were lost. I grieve for them. I think it's horrible. I find it curious. I don't know how they got in. I mean, this is supposedly the most secure building in the country, or one of the most secure buildings in the country. Heck, our politicians are there, our representatives are there. I would think that they would be very secure. And certainly, you know, there was an agenda that everybody was aware of, so they knew there would be a crowd there. So I find it very curious that they even got in, and I can't explain that. I don't know.
Well, it was, I mean, it has come to light now through investigations and through intelligence that this was completely organized. A lot of these people were from out of town. These were a lot of far right groups, well-known President Trump supporters. In fact, the guy who was in the horn suit, maybe you've seen him. He was the same guy who was sitting on the dais in the chamber. And so a lot of these were Trump supporters. And what are your thoughts with respect to your party mates and those folks you were out there to revel with, and it went south like that? And what do you say to your fellow Republicans who pulled
Well, I
that
think
stuff
that
off?
first of all, what they did was wrong, and they harmed it's for the people. This is the House for the people. It's horrible that they did that. They didn't represent us. They represented themselves. It certainly wasn't. They didn't represent me. Anything that is of a violent nature, or, even like Black Lives Matter, when they were out in the street and they were burning flags and they were looting. And, it was Nancy Pelosi who said, I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. Or when Kamala Harris said protesters should not let up, and that's when there were fires. So, I mean, we've been told this before from Maxine Waters. If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, in a gas station, you get out there and create a crowd, and you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anywhere at any time. So, I mean, we've heard this from politicians who, in this particular case, people got in. They were wrong. Did they deface property? They were wrong. They should go to jail. This was not promoted. This was not encouraged. This was, we were there to stand there because just by our mere presence that we made a point. And our point was that, let's follow through with the legalities of this election, that there were irregularities. We'd like to draw some conclusions on the truth. There are lots of people that came forward. I spoke to some of them that were witnesses to the counts. Was there a question about Dominion, the software? I mean, this isn't Venezuela. This is America. So let's make sure that we had a free and fair election. And this is really a protest. I was around in the Vietnam days, when we
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
You protested. You went out. You had a flag. I don't know.
Yeah.
We weren't violent, but we let our
Boy, those
voices be
protests,
known.
they struck a different tone, huh?
I mean, should they have, those that were violent? It was absolutely, it has to be condemned 100%. They should go to jail, whoever they were. I don't know who they were. And I don't know what's true anymore. I don't know from media. Is it true? You hear one side of a story. Even now we're hearing one side of a story that, yeah, these people broke in. We're getting some coverage. There were some photographs. But how about the million other people that were there, that were standing peacefully, that were there with flags, loving America? That's also it's a one-sided story, because you're hearing about the horrific side of it. And that was the small amount of people compared to the masses that were there respectfully, lovingly, and peacefully.
Man, Annie, you felt safe the whole time. Is that right?
I felt safe the whole time. And what bothered me was when the mayor closed down the city. Because let me tell you,
that's right.
1 million people there that were hungry. They would have gone to those
restaurants
that would have helped the economy there. And we couldn't get any food. And we're like, why did they shut it down? We're all peaceful.
We could really use a glass of wine about now, right? I mean, come on. All right. Well, terrific. Man, thanks a lot for sharing your experience. Something else you care to add, or something else I'm missing that's important to note?
Well, I think it's important to note that we should all be vigilant in finding our own truths, finding the truths, whether that be through online sources, whether that be with specific reporters that we value and that we trust, and we have to get the story completely. And I put a lot of weight on you and other reporters to make sure that, that your job is fulfilled with a balanced reporting, because then we can make the right decisions with regard to who we want to vote for, with what it is that what decisions we need to make. So we count a lot on the media to give us accurate reporting.
And man, I carry that weight on my shoulders every day, and it bears me down, and I do it. It's terrific. Listen, so I'm glad. Hope you have a happy New Year, and you
Happy New
stay
Year.
safe. And thanks for sharing your story with us. And if they don't get NBC6 in Boca, watch it online on our app, or the news starts at 4. So yeah.
Okay, will do. Thank you so much
Great
for
talking.
contacting me, Steve.
All right, Anna, be well.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.